Welcome to Krav Life. My name is Paul Simos, and today on Train to Fight, we're interviewing Mr. Pier Giambanco, who you may actually know better as Frank Castiglione. Well, we'll get him to explain the story for you guys and exactly how that sort of happened. Just so you know, Pier is the FIMA representative for Italy, and he runs his academy, the Spartan Academy in Rome. And I'm really looking forward to talking with him today. It's going to be very, very interesting. Now, here at Krav Life, one of the things that we're known for is creating a community and networking with Kravists from all over the globe. And we want you guys to get in on the action as well. That's why we created our own Krav Life community network. Basically, it's a place where Kravists like you and I can get together, we can network, we can discuss everything Krav Maga related. Plus, we drop profiles and articles and training and so much more in there as well. And the best thing is that it's all for free. So just go over to mykravlife.com and sign up for the free community network today and start networking with Kravists from all over the world. And while you're there, be sure to check out our Krav Maga directory and find a place to train near you. And of course, if you are a studio owner listening in and your studio is not on the directory, be sure to submit your information so that we can get it up there right away so people can find you. Okay. So without further delay, here is Mr. Pier Giambanco. Here we go. All right. Welcome, sir. How are you doing?
Nice to hear you. I'm very happy to be here. All good here from Italy. And I'm very happy to be here, humble and honored. And I don't say it for just to say that. I really believe. I think that it's a great opportunity to be here. I think that honestly, when you asked me, I was a little bit afraid because there's a part of me that lives like in a kind of imposter syndrome. So watching all the guests that you have, there are some big name, amazing instructors. I asked to myself, okay, what I'm doing in this show, and I guess I'm also the first European guy here, and we have a lot of amazing instructors. I named in the past that I think that sooner or later deserve to be here. But I'm happy to be here. It's a great opportunity. And I said that you do an amazing work. It's a great opportunity to all the people to understand what happens in our world, how instructors think, how they can improve, how they can learn. And I think it's also nice, just go beyond the official curtain that some instructors have. It's a great opportunity, so I'm very, very happy to be here. Hope I don't screw up.
You can't screw up here. But thank you for the kind words. Now, I've seen some of your videos. You've done a couple of videos for FIMA, and you're a FIMA instructor as well.
Yes.
Now, the one funny thing is here you're Pier, and with all the videos and stuff you put out there, even your Facebook profile is Frank. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on there?
Yes. I hope that the few Frank Castiglione fans are not disappointed to find today Pier Giambanco. But basically, Pier Giambanco is my real name. The reason why there is this kind of dichotomy is simply because for my work, they have a policy on social media platforms that it's very strict. So they don't want that we say too much on social media. So until 3 years ago, I wasn't on Facebook. There was a friend of mine that wanted to put me in a discussion group. They said, no, you have to create an account. So at the time, I was watching the Netflix show on The Punisher, Frank Castiglione. So I figured out that this was a good nickname. So I joined Facebook with the Frank Castiglione. By the night, I found around 25 friendship requests from people that knew me, and so it's like an avalanche, every day. So Frank Castiglione became basically my Facebook name, and people know me in this way. But my real name for the happiness of my mother is Pier Giuseppe Giambanco. Pier is a nickname, is a short name because its real name is complicated, but that's my real name. And my real friends and my closest people know me as Pierre. And Frank Castiglione is a Facebook name, but I don't give too much importance to that. Probably one day I need to fix this. I don't know how it will be possible. Maybe I will leave a long name. The user formerly knows as Frank Castiglione, like the singer Prince. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah.
I hope too many people aren't disappointed to find out the truth, but it is what it is. That's a funny story. So tell us, Pierre, how did you get started in all this? Like, did you take martial arts before, and then got into Krav Maga, or like how did all this start?
My journey was in the beginning was a very typical journey. I started when I was 13 years old, almost around 30 years ago. I started with karate because I have a cousin that was a karate teacher, and I was fascinated by his stories, his training. So I started to train karate. And when I was close to the black belt, it happened to me that I was involved in let's say a street fight, and I took a punch in the face, and it was a game changer because all my ideas and all my beliefs collapsed because in the style of karate, in the way I was training karate, basically there were no hits to the face. And like Mike Tyson used to say, everybody have a plan till they get punched in the face. And I understood that what I was doing was basically not giving me what I needed and what I thought I was getting by training karate. So I decided to leave it immediately, and I switched to another martial arts that was very, very close to actual MMA or the Kudo. It was name is Yosekan Budo. And basically, it's like Japanese kickboxing with a basic of ground fighting, and that has been a huge experience because I trained for more than 10 years. I got black belt there, and since the formula of the competition was very similar to kickboxing, we went with my friends to compete in the national circuit of kickboxing in Italy. We had a fight in full contact and kickboxing K1, semi-contact, sanda, and all the basic formulas of fighting with kicks and punches with the KO allowed. We used to fight with the gloves of 10 ounces, and it was possible to hit in the face, put the people down. So it has been a great school. And it was a game changer because once you experience the contact, you understand a big difference between pretending to fight and fighting for real. And then another thing happened, and again, it was another punch that I took in a different situation that made me understand that probably there was something different. At the time, I was working for the main Italian aircrew company. It was flight attendant duties, and on a flight, there was a fight between two passengers, and I had to separate these two passengers. And in the corridors of the airplane, it's a very narrow stance. And so I was moving in a situation where I wasn't prepared to move for a fight, because normally what you do on board is kind of different from fighting. And to divide them, I took a punch, and the punch didn't bother me too much because I was coming from more than 10 years of contact. So it was a punch. I was used to get punched in the face. That wasn't a big deal. What stuck on my mind was the fact that even if I was ready to fight in a different scenario, I wasn't ready to handle the different scenario and how the fight might start in a different scenario. Thanks to my work, it happened that I went in a gym in Israel, and while I was there going to train for just weights, I saw in a class this kind of training that to me was very, very new, and it was of course a Krav Maga class. And I started to dig. I'm talking about around 1998. And at the time in my country, there wasn't, or maybe there was just a couple of instructors in all Italy. And I've been able to find a guy that was starting to teach to a small group of people. If I recall properly, he was from the IKMF, when the IKMF was just one body. And this guy was coming from an instructor course made from Philippe Kadouche, so a big name. And I got introduced to Krav Maga. And it was really a nice experience, because it was, for some aspects, it was not new from other acts, but it was completely new for the mindset of the approach. Then I had to leave for 5 days because with the work was impossible, and at the time I was also still competing. Plus, I had a brief experience playing American football in the top Italian league, so I wasn't focused on Krav Maga. And then when everything went in the right place in my life and I had more time, I decided to get back to Krav Maga. And at the time, Krav Maga was a little bit more spread, not only in my country but around the world. And digging and making my research, I found Commando Krav Maga with Moni Isaac, and I did the first instructor's course with him in Italy. I guess it was the second or the third instructor course that was made in Europe, and then I made all the steps till the top level of Commando Krav Maga. And I've been amongst the first 6 instructors to reach the highest level in Commando Krav Maga. 4 Italian guys, 1 Canadian guy that I think that he has been your guest, Ilan Rosenberg.
Yeah, Ilan, yeah.
Ilan was with me in the first group of instructors, and there was an American guy. And since then, I always kept my vision open and my training open, and I always took the opportunity to train with all the instructors in my country and going around. I trained with Itai Gil, I trained with Dana Bolnik, I trained with I'm Zut guys, I trained with Michael Ruppel, and I always try to be on path, because my idea is that beyond the business, all the instructors, all the best instructors in the business, they have a piece of truth. More pieces of truth you get, and the better the view it is, and the better is the service that you can pay to your students if you teach. And in my journeys, I've been in Israel many times to train and to meet other people. I've been blessed to be host in the Dennis Hanover gym in Herzliya, this amazing place, amazing human being, a special teacher above everybody. And it has been a blessing to be somehow close to him and to his guys, because it's a special breed of warriors. And a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, I joined the FIMA as the lead Italian instructor, and I think that it's a great project, because it's something that really put you connected with the best names, and it's really a project that helps you to grow and can help people and the business to grow, and that's what it is. Now I teach in my school, and this is with me. This is my journey made short.
Nice. So tell us a little bit about your school. Like where is it located, and kind of what do you focus on there? Because you've taken so many different you've taken Krav Maga from so many different people. What do you like to focus on with your students?
Well, basically, the name of my school is Spartan Academy, Israeli Fighting Systems, and within the many reasons why we decided to use Israeli Fighting Systems is basically because we have a strong core that is, for some aspects, the Commando Krav Maga curriculum, but at the same time, I have an approach where if something I think is valuable, if something is useful, of course, it's something that I have experienced by myself first, training with the different instructors and then testing by myself. If I think that something is useful, we bring it in our training. I'm not interested in. I know that probably someone can be disappointed what to say. I don't look at myself as a seller. I am a coach, I am an instructor, and my goal and my creed is to give to my students the best tools to survive and the best tools to become a better fighter, to become a rounder. So if something is good, I keep it, I take it, and I train it, I let them train. And if something doesn't fit what is my vision, our goal, or our needs, I leave it aside and I play with curriculums. I try to adapt the curriculums and the situations to what is our reality, because of course, Krav Maga has a huge value in is being adaptable. But if you do not adapt it and you make it the same in Texas, in Colombia, or in Italy, you're making probably a disservice to the value of the system. So I try to adapt to our reality. And just to make it simple, we have a huge emphasis on hand-to-hand combat and hand-to-hand combat and some with the blades, and we have less focus on guns, of course, because in Italy the situation is totally different. And what I do in my school, I try to, if you look at the logo of my school, you can see we have CKM, it's Krav Maga, then we have what I call survival grappling, trench boxing, and weapons and tactics. Basically, I like to get a rounder approach to training. I want that my students master and train the basics of combat. So grappling, vertical grappling, and ground grappling. The basic striking called trench boxing in reference to the trenches where the fight. So it's a curriculum for fighting empty hand in narrow spaces. The basic of dirty boxing, it's our version of dirty boxing. And then weapon and tactics, because we teach also some basic stuff with knives and sticks, because it happens that you can use knives and sticks to defend yourself. And also because by training the basics, you make the training more reliable. I mean, if you have to defend, let's say, against someone that I know that the attacker is always right, but if you have to defend, to learn to defend against a knife, I want that at least the guy that is attacking with a knife in the training is a legit attacker in a legit threat. If you learn to defend against someone that use the knife like a dumb robot, or the stick like a couch potato, or throw punches without knowing how to throw punches, to me, you're not doing something right. It's totally bullshit. I mean, I don't understand how in some school they can learn to defend from punches without ever training proper punching, without using mouthpiece and gloves. I don't know how they do. To me, if you want to learn to defend punch, you have to understand how to punch. You have to be good to punching a little bit, and you have to punch someone, and you have to train with the risk to getting punched in the face. That's how you really go. Otherwise, it's just like playing all the good stuff, but not training.
Yeah, it's more like dancing then. So let's go back to this trench boxing thing.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting. Like, so it's basically sparring in like more confined areas. How do you train? How do you
Well,
train that?
okay. First of all, the idea is to master first all the basic strikes that you can use in a self-defense situation. So you have the, let's say, jab, cross, and hook, because if you then think about that, you train patterns, biomechanics patterns that you have. If you learn to throw a cross, you basically have the same mechanic of the palm strike. If you try to learn the hook, you have pretty much the same thing you can do with the elbows or with the slap. And with the jab, you can jam people if you have to take a distance. So we try to then incorporate the basic strikes in fighting. Then once we teach people how to use them, we put inside other kind of strikes they can use. We have hammer punch, we have slaps, of course, and we have elbows. And then we try to let them use this kind of fight in a close range. I don't like too much the idea of the confined space because it's a very specific scenario. But if you think about that, the self-defense range is it's a very, very close range. It's not the mid-range that most of the time we see where people throw punches from a distance like it was a boxing match or a kickboxing match. Most of the time you have to strike from very, very close distance. Most of the time you have to strike from a position where someone is threatening your balance or someone is holding you, or when you are holding him, or in a situation where you have to be able to create a little bit of distance and to strike and set you free to set up striking or just disengage. If you think about, I think that in Canada you like it very much. If you think about the OK fights, they are pretty much very similar to the kind of distance management that we do when we train. So we basically learn to hit and to create separation hit at a very close distance. And of course, then there is a big involvement of the so-called trapping. So we train, let's say, underhooks, overhooks, and all the kind of controls that you can apply on a close range and a close fighting. And then we teach also to use the clothes, because, you know, if you have a hoodie, you can grab the hood and just create noise to create damage with closing the vision. You can just use to change the balance. So we try to basically to teach to people to fight as it should be in a self-defense situation where we have someone that is holding you, strengthening your balance. So we basically bring the basics in the proper scenario. That, according to me, is the only way to train Krav Maga. Not only when it comes to the trench boxing, but all the Krav Maga issues, to me, most of the time born on the idea that there is a different way of fighting. And it's a weird idea to me, because there isn't a different way of fighting. Fighting is fighting, but you have to be able to apply the basics of combat and the pillars of fighting to a specific scenario.
And what would those pillars of fighting be?
Well, I think
that you're talking.
Well, if you have to be, if you want to talk about a rounded guy, pillars of fighting to me are basic strikes, the clinch, managing the clinch, so we can call it clinch or vertical grappling, the basic ground work, we can call it wrestling, we can call it jiu-jitsu, we can call it grappling, whatever you want, but basic movements on the ground. And then some elements with weapons, so how to use a knife, how to use a stick, and how to use, in some situation, also a gun. Those are the pillars of fighting, and of course, then you have to deal with the specific needs of a self-defense situation, and of course, you have to be able to adapt this also to the rules and the needs of a country in terms of law, but also in terms of what you can do or what you cannot do. If you can carry, you cannot carry. But to me, you have to be able to mastering the basics, because by mastering the basics, you learn one thing that most of the time is neglected, is the ability to adapt and to make transitions. If you just train in a like if you are in a box and you train many different boxes, you are not able to connect the boxes. And when you think about fighting, when you see, and not because I'm telling this, but if you look at the footage of cameras that record real fighting or real violence, most of the time you see that maybe a fight, it starts from two people talking in a very heated way, very close, then someone tries to grab the other, and then start coming punches, then someone maybe stumble on the ground, you fall with him, you try to move, the other guy pulls out a knife, and so these are all the elements that you have to be able to master and to train.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very good point, because we train. It's like you said, we're training. We're gonna spar. Which is the kicking and the punching, and then we do our groundwork over here, and then we learn our self-defense over here. But very rarely, or there's very few drills where we tie them all together. And I think that's a good point, especially fighting at a closer range, which is where most fights are. Right,
Absolutely.
sparring range is completely different. I like that.
I can tell you that one of the reasons why I believe deeply in this kind of training is because once you start training in a certain way, you you are surely will understand that a lot of solutions that are normally in many curriculums don't make sense, because sometimes the answer is easier than you might expect, and sometimes it's so weird what happens that it cannot be put in the curriculum. So I think that this is a good way to help the students to understand how to work really on principles, get into their own solution, and to teach adaptation, that to me is the most important skill when it comes to survival, because survival is adaptation, and fighting in combat survival should be adaptation to the development and the evolution of combat. I tell you, and I'm probably aware of the fact that this is going to be going to make a temper tantrum in someone. One of the best definition is not mine. I don't recall who was the guy that said this. One of the best definition that I learned and I remember about Krav Maga, it's MMA from the street. So I know exactly that when you name MMA or other forms of combat sports, a lot of people have issues, because they start to talking about, okay, there are no friends coming, there are the rules, there are the referees, there is a cage, and everything so far. And I get this point, but, and this is my point, if you look to MMA, looking to MMA as a set of skills instead of a set of rules of sports, what you get? You get someone that can be punched, someone that can be choked, someone that can be slammed on the floor, someone that can be pushed against the wall, hit against the wall, can be somehow hit when he's on the ground. And I know that there are some elements that are no longer allowed in MMA. But if you think about this, there's a lot of elements that you have in real fight. In a real fight and real violence, you have people that are holding each other, that are pushing each other. Someone is trying to hit you, keeping you against the wall. Someone is trying to hit you when you're on the ground. In terms of skills, what is Krav Maga? It should be the same. You should be able to have a answer for someone that is that wants to choke you, that wants to kick you when you're on the ground, that wants to punch you when you're against the wall. Of course, there are some elements that are very specific that cannot be brought in a cage. No, I know that. Okay, but the pillars and some situations are the same. I think that if you look at MMA matches and you look at all the work that is made against the wall of the cage, it's pretty much the same concept that you can apply when you are against a normal wall in a street or in a violent situation. Of course, you can use some elements that are different. Okay, I can poke the eye, but what is position, balance, distance management, working to control the clinch, the hand? It's pretty much the same. So what I talk about is master the skills and adapt them to your specific scenario. There isn't a different way of fighting. If you don't know how to defend a proper double leg takedown, you cannot invent anything. To defend the worst case scenario, double leg takedown, you have to do probably a sprawl. But once you have done a proper sprawl, you can attack the face in a different way. But you have again to master the basics and then adapt to the scenario. That's it. But I know that a lot of people like to all the time feed the propaganda that is we against MMA, we against full contact, we against boxing. I look at the things in terms of skills, and the more skillful you are, the better it is. And we know that probably most of the instructors that claim something, oh no, we can do this, we can do that, they will be probably manhandled by a basic MMA fighter amateur. We know that it's propaganda.
Yeah. We have to remember that the roots of Krav Maga has always been to take what works from other systems, right? Krav Maga never built itself from the ground up and has stuff that's completely unique to Krav Maga, right? It's always looking and taking and then adapting and refining it, right?
But Imi himself, even if I'm not someone that has this kind of huge and almost cultish admiration for Imi. Imi was a boxer and a wrestler. So he had a solid background in boxing and in wrestling. You can imagine, we all know the story of Imi in his young age in Bratislava, fighting against the Nazi bands. Do you really think that Imi was fighting in the streets for his life without punching someone, or without holding and throwing on the ground, or without slamming against the wall, or maybe trying to use elbows, head? It's fighting, but then you have to adapt it. Instead, we forgot the fact that the core of Krav Maga, it was boxing and wrestling with the implementation of the basic judo when you went to Israel. And we start to focus on the cool thing, on the Hollywood stuff. Okay, 1,000 of gun disarm, 1,000 of knife threat, and then you're not able to defend a real punch. I know it's comfortable. I understand. Okay, it's easy. It's better to have a plastic rubber gun here and do a lot of cool things. I know it's easy. But
and I think the thing that a lot of people forget too is that Imi didn't invent Krav Maga in Bratislava, right? He didn't. It was years after he came to Israel, and he had the influence of everyone that came before him and was there with him, right? So he probably learned more after going to Israel than he did before Israel, right? Yeah. So there was the stick fighting method that was there, everything that he learned from the Haganah, and eventually it became the Krav Maga, right? So exactly. yeah, he didn't develop it in a vacuum, and I think people forget that. But it's easier to tell that story, right? It's an easier story when someone knew, oh, what's Krav Maga? Oh, it was invented by Emi, blah blah blah. It's easy, and it's a good story. Where the reality,
honestly, yeah. Under that point of view, I'm a very bad person because I like history, but I know that history has its place. There are some things that have still a place in the present and probably in the future, and there are things that have a place and it's in the past. Above all, because if you think about that, one of the main, well, probably the most important thing about EMI, and it was already in the logo design by itself, is the idea of an open system and a constant evolution. Okay, if you forget that, you can claim that you train with Dimi or you are carrying his legacy, but you are, in my humble opinion, you are paying a disservice to what it was his vision. Or if you want to talk about not EMI but about any kind of instructor, about the goal of the self-defense or the goal of what it should be Krav Maga.
Yeah, exactly, and it's the mindset of Krav Maga that sets it apart from other martial arts.
Exactly, skills and mindset.
Yeah, exactly. I had another question. So tell me a little bit about your work with FIMA and the stuff that you're doing with them as the instructor for Italy.
Okay. Well, pretty much when I was approached by the FIMA leaders at the beginning, I was a little bit scared because I always been on my own. I always been somehow scared to be on a broader stage, on a bigger stage. I always just care about my school, my guys, and I didn't understand what the project was. Once I understood that basically it was like the United Nations of Krav Maga, there was real a will to bring the best people together without any kind of just to make grow the community of Krav Maga. I thought that was a great project because most of the time, it's like there are people that they don't know each other so well, and they are some way suspicious. I like him. I don't know. He did this. I don't like him for this, but maybe. And it happens that one day you have a mutual friend that brings you in a restaurant and puts you on the same table, and you end the night drinking and cheering and saying, "Oh, we have so fucking in common. How are we supposed to waste all this time?" And I think that FIMA is doing a great job in these terms. They are bringing together people that probably were suspicious in the past, or that probably wouldn't have the same opportunity to stay together and getting to know each other. And to me, it's a great opportunity because there's real value behind the project, and there is a lot of opportunity to grow. They have videos for technical development. They have videos with interviews and with covering many subjects. There is the opportunity to write articles. That we have kind of newsletter with people talking about different topics from law to training to physical training to psychology. So for an instructor, also for the students, it's a big opportunity because there is no such there is no stress. It's how, to me, FIMA is like how the things should be. And aside from my role that I really play with a lot of humbleness, because it came in my life when I was too old to get excited or to become cocky for a position. And to me, it's a great opportunity because, you are in a group of people where you can talk and ask questions with, say, you have Nir Maman, you have Itai Gil, you have Moti Ornstein, you have Neil Farber, you have David Kahn, you have other John Whitman. There are a lot of great instructors that are there, and you are connected. And I think that instead of doing the war against someone or to build walls, the opportunity to have doors that open are gold for an instructor that wants to grow and that wants to keep himself open-minded. Of course, if you are more comfortable in being part of a cult or in an organization focusing on only on the goal of the organizations, I can understand that probably you don't get value in this, but that's who I am, that's how I'm made, and I think that it's amazing, the idea to have this growth opportunity. And,
So
yeah,
I was going to say, what sort of projects have you been involved with FIMA? Like, what sort of things have you done?
Well, actually, for what is Italy, we are trying to make some kind of joint events. We have a couple instructors in Italy, and we are trying to do joint seminars, joint training. We made online events where we talk about some specific aspects of training or something connected to training. We involved the people from other organizations and from other school. We made seminars with people teaching, let's say, knife fighting from other organizations, or MMA coaches coming to train. We are trying to build a better community of teachers working on the simple project of making them better. Okay, so we have the instructors together, and we bring someone that is a good striker with a lot of experience in teaching striking. So we work on striking, and we understand how we can bring in our teaching, how we can develop better our students. So basically, we are working in this way to make the instructors better. We are trying to increase our base in Italy, but the problem is in Italy, the situation of Krav Maga, it's a mess, because aside of the politics that are a nightmare in our country, we had a lot of instructors that did very, very bad things, because, you know, when there is success, you have people that become instructors in a few days and then do shitty things. Let's say there is no other way to say it. They do shitty things. So people look at this kind of work and get somehow discouraged from Krav Maga. Then in the last years, we also had a couple of influencers on YouTube that made a huge campaign against Krav Maga, and unfortunately, it made a lot of damage. So it's very, very hard to find the people that are able to work with us and are able to make this kind of thinking process to think about not the organization, but to think about themselves as the better instructors, and also getting recognition in the martial arts community in Italy. It's hard, but we are working and we are starting to change things. Our goal is to make once a year at least a camp in Italy with all the instructors to train together, and to probably ask someone from different organizations just to help us, so to bring some instructors from other countries, and all of us is working on his own project. I'm gonna do sooner a workshop on clinch fighting. There's another guy in Tuscany that made a few weeks ago another seminar with an instructor from Poland, Jaroslav Rogowski, a great guy. And basically, we are trying to give back the good name to the Krav Maga and all Israeli fighting systems. It's not easy, but it's worth trying.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it'll be one of those things that'll be worth it in the end. It'll be a lot of hard work, but it'll be worth it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, sir. Well, this has been an excellent interview. It's very interesting stuff. If someone wanted to get into contact with you, what is the best way for them to do that with you?
Well, of course, my expression board is the page of the Spartan Academy IFS. You find us on Facebook, or you can try to reach me through Frank Castiglione on Facebook. I know that there are a lot of Frank Castiglione, but you can get it through the Krav Maga board. You'll find me there. And I'm available for everything. If you want to chat, just give me a message. If you want to talk or ask something, I'm more than happy to meet and greet with other people from all the countries. We share the same passion and what I say always, at the end of the day, we share the same passions, and we are more close to someone that we don't know than some of our friends. We share the same passions, same ideas. And that's it. If you want to somehow spend time with me on the mats, my gym's doors are always open. We asked many guys in the past, and we always like to bring people, and sometimes we always say a lot to let them run the class. And if you want me for seminars and training, I'm more than happy to make it possible. I'm not the kind of guy, I'm working against myself. I'm not the kind of guy that will come here, will show you 10 different tricks and then we'll move away. I like to more work on skills and building skills and working on methodology and to leave you something you can work upon. But if you want, I'm more than happy, and it is what it is.
Awesome. All right, sir. I look forward to hopefully meeting you in person one day and doing some training with you. But I want to thank you for your time, and
thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, not a problem. You take care and stay safe. Okay, sir?
Same for you.
All right.
Bye, everybody. Always forward.